Here's a story that, unlike impeachment, actually matters. UFOs, for years, were treated as the stuff of cranks and weirdos. But recently, people who are interested in the topic have been joined by a formidable ally, the American military. Turns out for years, the Pentagon spent millions investigating UFO phenomenon. They've lied about it. However, in a recent piece for the Washington Examiner, columnist Tom Rogan came out with a theory as to why they've been lying. And it's worth hearing. Tom Rogan joins us tonight. Tom, thanks so much for coming on. So one of the things you hear is, well, maybe these objects are Russian or Chinese, but your piece points out Russia and China have literally lost aircraft chasing these things. So they're not Russian or Chinese.
So we have a declassified British government document, which is a research document into UFOs, that points out a couple of times, actually, that about 4 Soviet pilots, perhaps Russian pilots since, were lost in trying to engage these aircraft.
Were killed? Does it say how?
Doesn't say how. And I haven't been able to find out how. I did hear from someone, though, engaged was an appropriate term to use, so that they were trying to shoot these things down, was the implication.
Okay, so if Russia, China, and the U.S. have all had this experience, then these are not?
These are not. And I think that's a pretty clear assessment on the part of the military.
These are not made by human beings?
No. Well, yeah, I think that's a fair assessment based on the capabilities, especially with some of the aircraft that the Navy have seen in recent years are manifesting, right? That you have things that are going hundreds of knots under the water, anti-gravity, instantaneous hypersonic acceleration, that you have basically capability performance without jet propulsion.
Right.
This stuff is not stuff that China or Russia have anywhere near the capability
or that physics can explain.
Exactly.
So why is the Pentagon lying about this? Why have they lied about it for so long?
I mean, you know, that's the golden question. I think one reason is that a lot of people in the Pentagon fully don't understand what this is. I think they come to the conclusion it ain't from here.
Yeah.
But beyond that, they're somewhat flummoxed.
And you think they have come to that conclusion?
Yes. Yes, confidently.
They think this is extraterrestrial, just to be totally blunt about it.
Or extra-dimensional, something extra, let's put it that way.
It's not from this world.
Not from this world, and not from Elon Musk. You know, some people say maybe it's some secret billionaire somewhere. It's too advanced. It's also quite extraordinary the degree to which, when these things happen, right? When we've seen a lot of, you know, or some coverage, not as much as we would want to see on the Navy in particular, but the nuclear synergy, the nuclear identifier, that a guy, Robert Hastings, wrote a book about this 10, 15 years ago, which is at some point probably going to become a bestseller because it talks about these things actually deactivating, in a couple of cases, US and Soviet ICBMs in the Cold War. So whatever these things are, intelligent machines, they're not ghosts, blips on the radar. Also their ability to move, you know, both through space, air, and hundreds of knots underwater in terms of friction.
Nothing can go hundreds of knots. I mean, the whole thing is, so we're out of time, unfortunately. We should have led the show with this. We should be leading the show with this tomorrow, and so should every other newscast.
Well, it's great you're covering it. It's great you're covering it. No one else does.
Covering it more. It's unbelievable.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
UFOs have been the stuff of conspiracy theorists for decades, often mocked for talking about it, but maybe they shouldn't be mocked. Commander David Fravor spent 18 years as a naval aviator, a pilot. In 2004, he had an unforgettable encounter with an aircraft he said was defying the laws of physics. Former Commander Fravor joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on tonight. Tell us what you saw.
Well, we had launched on a routine training mission. When we joined up, we were told that the event was going to be canceled and that we have real-world tasking, and we were sent out to the west. Now, take in mind that this has taken place about 100 miles southwest of San Diego, between San Diego and Ensenada, Mexico, on a clear, perfect day, blue waters. We get out to the spot where they tell us it's at. We start looking around, and both airplanes see a disturbance in the water and a white 40-foot long tic-tac shaped object just hovering above the water, going forward, back, left, right. There's no rotor wash, there's no wings, nothing. So as we drive around in a clockwise flow, we get to about the 9 o'clock position, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and check it out, and the other jet is going to stay high. So as we go down, when we get to the 12 o'clock position, it starts to mirror us. So it's in a clockwise flow, and it's on the opposite side of the circle from us. And we continue this. It's in a climb, we're in a descent. We're getting a great look at it. This whole thing takes about probably up to 5 minutes from the time we show up. I get over to the 8 o'clock position. It's at about the 2 o'clock position, and I decide I'm going to go and see what it is, and it's about 2,000 feet below me. And I cut across the circle, and as I get within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerates to the south in about 2 seconds and disappears.
What would you estimate the speed?
Oh, well above supersonic. It like a bullet out of a gun, it took off.
So from what you know about aerodynamics, mechanics, physics, should this be possible, what you saw?
Not with the technology that we have today. Not at all.
Even now, even 13 years later, is there anything that you know of capable of this kind of behavior?
No, there's nothing I know of. I mean, when we saw the video with the IR, it has no exhaust. No discernible things of anything form of propulsion. And this thing came from a dead hover over the water, just kind of moving around, to a climb up to about 12,000 feet to rapidly accelerating away in a climb, and in less than 2 seconds it was gone. And you figure you're talking 50 miles of visibility, and you can easily see an object that size easily out to 10 miles, and it just disappeared in seconds.
What would be the effects on a human pilot of the G-forces involved in that altitude change?
Well, the altitude wouldn't be bad. It would be the acceleration of the object.
Right.
Honestly, I wanted to fly it.
Yeah, but,
I bet. There's, talking to some physicists, they don't think the human body could handle that kind of force with that acceleration.
It doesn't sound like the human body could. So bottom line, what do you think this was?
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
When presumably you expressed that belief to your superiors, what did they say?
Well, actually, we caught a lot of grief getting back to the boat, and it got passed off as an event that no one could explain. Now, keep in mind, they had been tracking these for 2 weeks prior to us seeing it, and this was the first time that manned airplanes had been airborne when the objects appeared.
This feels like a really big story to me. It's not exactly clear why Vladimir Putin's more interesting than this. I think this seems like a big deal. And Commander, I appreciate your taking the time to talk to us about it. You seem sober and believable, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Tucker.
Thanks.
Yeah.